So I don't know about you, but a lot of people have been asking me about the homestead, uh, wanting a little more details about what we're planning on, what the purpose is, because some reason people think it's for just for self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
In all honesty, the way I look at it is I would make a lot more money doing something else.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot more money. I mean, just in car sales alone, I mean, I'd be hitting six figures every year,
Yeah.
and being able to live the life of it's pretty much easy. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, selling cars is easy. Anyways, so I figured today that we would talk a little more about our purpose behind it, what our actual plans are and everything.
Okay.
Um, I'll start. What something that has always bothered me, and you've even started shopping that way and noticing that a lot of our foods are genetically modified.
Yes.
Um, in fact, even our meat is starting to become genetically modified.
Yeah.
They're starting to push that. So if you eat fast food, you may actually be eating fake meat. You,
Without realizing it.
which a long time ago, back in the 90s, the big thing was soy meat. But it wasn't genetically modified. It was just basically soybeans turned into meat and they put meat flavoring in it. But now they're actually growing meat through cell technology and stuff like that, which cannot be good for your innards at all.
No.
And so my thought is when I got in this conversation with somebody the other day, they said, "Oh, it's a lot cheaper to grow ungenetically modified food." I'm like, I get that. It is cheaper, but it's not cheaper at the grocery store for it.
No. So
Because
they've got to use somebody different ingredient. So cut costs where they can.
yeah, I mean, when you buy things like if you buy tomato soup, can how many different brands did you find that were not genetically modified of soup, chicken noodle soup?
Well, if you go to Walmart, none of them are.
Yeah, all of
They're
them.
all genetically modified. Wait, I take that back. Progresso.
Yeah, Progresso was the only thing that was not
I
genetically
just
modified.
remembered that. That was the only reason I bought the chunky Progresso was because it was not genetically modified.
And that's not even counting foods that didn't have some type of chemical that was added to the fertilizer, added to kill the bugs off of the vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just talking genetically modified. Well, I grew up poor most of my life, and when you're poor, you don't really have a lot of options. Um, Heck, if you're really poor and you have to live off of commodities like natives, like a lot of foods in the 80s, I lived off of native food
Yeah, and
commodity.
I grew up with food pantries, so
Yeah, and so you get what they give you.
yeah, you
Um,
get a certain amount of something, and
I don't know what
some
you got,
less.
but what I got was not fresh
No,
vegetables. It was not a chicken that they grew on the farm.
it was canned chicken.
It was canned chicken. I got the canned chicken meat. I'm like, what is this? I mean, it didn't even look like a chicken.
No, it looked like tuna fish in a can.
The only good meat we got in natives is we got bison meat. We got little rolls of bison meat, and we got commodity cheese. That was good, but that's a problem. So if you're poor, you're stuck poisoning yourself and your family, and I really hate that.
Yeah.
The thought of it just sickens me. And so my first thought of growing a homestead is being able to give food and meat and stuff like that to families that cannot provide for themselves. That are needing to, because we don't have enough organic anything. They'll call themselves organic, but it's not really organic, or they'll call themselves um, farm raised chickens, but they're not actually. They're still just stuck in these little pens.
Yeah.
And they're not free range or anything. They're not free grazing.
Yeah, and that's what our chickens are going to be doing is going to have a set up little pen where they can, I say little, but it's going to be,
They can roam
they're
around.
going to be able to roam around and probably be about the size of the backyard we have right now for each coop.
A lot of people don't understand how much happiness plays into your meat. And that sounds weird. It sounds very tree hugging, hippie ish kind of thing. And I know I'm going to offend somebody because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with hugging trees. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, every hunter knows that if you don't quickly kill an animal, it will produce a lot of hormones.
Yeah.
But because it's in fear, and that fear hormone will taint the meat. It doesn't taste nearly as good.
It'll taste gamey.
It'll taste gamey, and it's not nearly as good for you. So you're eating bad meat. I mean, it's still better than this or that, but it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
So if you have happy animals that are running free, that are living the life that they want to, like we're going to have chickens that are not just meat birds, but they're egg layers. So
Purpose birds. That's what
into a
they're
purpose.
called.
And so we'll be living off their eggs, and they'll be roaming around happy go lucky, whatever they want to do. And we'll be collecting the eggs, and then we'll be selling the eggs, or we'll be giving the eggs away.
And we'll be hatching those eggs ourselves so that we can have birds in the future. So we're not having to continually buy new birds.
Yeah, because we don't know where the birds came from.
We'll have birds that we know where they came from.
Yeah, we'll know what ingredients, what was in the soil, stuff like that. And every part of the homestead is going to be refurbished. I mean, people don't understand. You can make a lot of money just off of rabbit poop and goat poop. Fertilizer for that is priceless. Well, not priceless. There actually is a price on it, but it's hard to keep it in stock because it's that good for your ground. Everything we're going to do is going to make it self-sufficient. Anything that's going to have automatic feeders or waters and stuff like that is going to be connected to solar. Yeah. We're going to be collecting rainwater.
Because you can do that in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Unlike Colorado.
Colorado, who they outlaw it. Why would they outlaw the collection of rain? Because it takes money away from business. Business being the water company, stuff like that. They can't charge you for it, and they want to charge you.
Yeah.
Solar power. Solar is not that efficient in a grand scale, but in a small scale, it is.
Yeah.
It's very efficient. But there's a lot of things you can do that can create, we've got 8.25 acres. That's actually a lot compared to, I've seen homesteads that were an acre, 2 acres, that still had plenty to feed their whole family for a year, the whole year. They didn't have to worry about anything. Well, we're not just wanting to feed our family. We're wanting to feed other people's families. We have plans for sponsorships. We're going to actually document everything so people see what we're going through. People see that they could live like this.
Yeah, we'll have fun little things like, I thought about it, naming the kids, the goats, baby goats. Kids.
You're not naming my kid because people have weird names now.
So you'd be naming the kids, the goats. Of course, my daughter, she's going to have hers. That's going to be what she names. But, we're going to have a contest in naming the goats or, stuff like that. And, if you win, maybe we'll keep you up to date with sending you pictures or something. We'll do something fun with it.
And we'll have a newsletter. I don't know whether it's going to be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, but we'll have a newsletter that will that honestly, if it's an online newsletter, we'll be able to have videos specifically explaining certain things. But there's a lot that can go on with the homestead. It's not just we want to live self-sufficiently. We're in a location that we're right off the highway, the Indian Nation Turnpike, and so there is no signage on that highway.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to sponsor, it benefits them because they're helping a good cause, but their name's getting out there.
Yeah. So if you have a business or something that wants a billboard on the highway,
we've got it. We've got the area.
Yeah.
We've got, I think 4 acres across, something like that.
Yeah, we've got, I think it's about, I want to say 3 acres from side to side. And
yeah, we got plenty of area to do it.
Plenty of area to put up 2 signs.
But everything that we're doing with this is a cause to help somebody, and that's what everything is about. And then what we make financially gives us the opportunity again to help people. I firmly believe that our purpose in life is twofold: to love and to learn. And that's all we're doing is we're learning and we're loving and we're teaching other people. We're learning as we go, but we're also making a community. It's amazing how many people don't know their neighbors.
Yeah.
The other day, we went on the land.
And I haven't uploaded the pictures or videos because it's been a crazy week for me.
But we drove out there. Again, we don't have a driveway or anything. And it's been dry. And I was driving. I saw everywhere was dry. I was like, well, I'm going to drive all the way down to the tree line. So I go down the tree line. Then all of a sudden I was like, that looks a little wet. And by the time I got that sentence out, I was on top of all of it. And this one little 25-yard square patch is wet. In the whole 8.25 acres, that one spot was the only wet spot.
Down the one wet spot.
And it would not budge. My truck was stuck. All 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's sunk.
Would not go anywhere. So I had to walk to the neighbors, which was about a mile away. And here I am, just walking there. This dumb redneck cowboy knocks on their door without having a vehicle there, just knocks. I mean, it's kind of strange right off the highway. And I mean, my neighbor, Eric, an older black gentleman, was more than gratuitous. He said, yeah, I have a tractor. We went to his barn that he built, and there he had a John Deere tractor. I'm like, great. So we rode the tractor all the way down there, went on the land, pulled it out.
Yeah.
But he wasn't used to that. I mean, they knew the neighbors just because they'd been there their whole lives. But people don't do that. They don't talk to their neighbors. Heck, we live in town in Tulsa, and we know our neighbors because we give them eggs for no reason. We don't ask for anything. It's just giving without expectations. And that's not a thing people do anymore. And it should be done. We should make that more popular. Giving without expectation. Helping people because we want to see them healthy and happy. Not because we want to get rich over it. I could get rich in a lot of other ways than starting a homestead. But I tried, we have a Give, Send, Go for it, which is like GoFundMe, except for the more Christian types. People have contacted me and not wanting to give because they don't know the details of how we're going to do it.
Yeah, they don't know. They want us to give specific details what we're going to use every little penny for, and it's like
it's complicated. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to write down a long plan, and nobody's going to read that.
Yeah, and I mean, we can tell you what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's not like
we want to do. We're not trying to hold that information in because we will tell you if if you want to know.
I'll list every single dollar. In fact, I plan on listing every dollar of where everything goes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not money hungry. I've never been a money person. Yeah. That's why I'm poor. It's because I've always given money away freely. Even now, when we're sitting there, I just lost my job and I had $1 in my pocket and I gave it to somebody just because they were having a bad day, and he delivered my groceries to me. And I said, hey, here. I was like, I know it's just $1, but it's what the dollar represents. There's a lot more positive energy in this dollar than if I would have handed $100 because I had it. I don't have any money, but I want him to know that life may be bad, but it's always been gotten worse, and it can always get better. Did I say that right? It always can get worse, and it always can be better. That's what I mean. But a lot of people, they don't see that. They see, the world's coming to an end. How many people were waiting for the rapture yesterday? I mean, I had people literally talking about we're going to be raptured up. And I'm like, what? I was like, we've had eclipses before.
You get away from the...
Oh, yeah, I'm getting off topic. Yeah. Sorry. It really puzzled my brain. I'm like, I don't understand. Why is everything the end of the world? But regardless, we need to get the world back to simple.
Yeah.
Just take care of each other, love each other. That's why I have that shirt that says, don't be a dick. What that means is love people. Just sometimes loving somebody is not being a dick to them.
Yeah.
If you have a neighbor that is struggling and they're struggling and you have some extra groceries, give it to them. Don't ask for anything. Don't say, well, are you going to eat these properly? What are you going to do with this?
What are you going to make with this?
What is it going to be? Who are you feeding? How many is you feeding? Why aren't you working? What's going on? I mean, I had people sit there and say, well, why don't you just get a job? I'm like, I was working 16-hour days.
Yeah.
I couldn't work anymore. Physically, it was already draining me. It was making me where I just was completely unhappy, but I was doing it because I was helping my family survive. People care so much about the details of everything, but they don't care about the end product. We're here to help people. We're here to love people. Just do that. I mean, when you help somebody on the street, do you say, well, here's $5, but are you going to spend it properly? Are you going to invest it into anything? Are you going to buy food that's good for you? You just give them $5 because you want to help. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Just love people. And so we have a plan for everything. And it is difficult. Don't get me wrong. We're going to have to sacrifice. We're going to be living in a house without plumbing for a little bit. That's not fun. We could easily decide not to do this and live in an apartment or rent a house or something like that. But who are we helping? I truly feel God has called me to do this. I know God has called me to do this beyond anything. This is what I'm supposed to do. I don't need people to agree with me. I don't need people to say, well, that sounds difficult. Well, that's because it is difficult. Most things that are worth doing are difficult. And that's why a lot of people don't do it. It's because it's too difficult. But once you get past the difficult part, you start seeing the blessings. You start being able to bless others. I just wanted to give a short bit of insight about where we are and what we see. And we have a very short time to do most of this. We're going to not have a place to live. We're going to be literally living in a tent. And if we don't find something, fix this within 2 months.
Yeah.
But we'll do it.
Looking at a few different options. One, we need, to set up a sewer system,
Yeah,
septic system, and then the other, we need about 3,000 to get a camper that's fully functional, not needing any work.
Yeah,
has a warranty.
Yeah, we're looking at several options. We're gonna do something that's makes sense. We're not trying to live in luxury or anything like that.
No.
We're just trying to live. So while we're down there and we're able to work on things, because right now we're an hour and a half away from it.
Yeah, we can't get really anything done.
And we don't have the finances to drive back and forth regularly to work on anything. But we'll be living down there pretty shortly.
Luckily we're still up here because having that appendix surgery and having my appendix removed last month. That's what I was saying. I haven't uploaded the videos.
Not over surgery. We're not going to show you that.
No. I haven't uploaded the videos of us going to the ranch last weekend or whatever it was and getting stuck in the mud. Luckily we're up here because down there I wouldn't have rested. I would have been doing things and lifting stuff that I shouldn't have been lifting.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people have opinions about things they know nothing about. They don't even ask. They just assume. I've had people assume that I have a gifts and go simply because I don't want to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been up until I was laid off 2 weeks ago. I worked 16 hours days, and I just got my hair cut, which couldn't afford it. But because I'm going to go back into car sales so I can try to raise the money to do this. I'm literally trying to raise the money so I can be poor. I don't plan on being poor. I really believe that we can make it work enough that I don't have to be poor. But to me, wealthy is not about finances. It's about not being in debt and being able to help people. That's wealthy. When you can help your neighbors, you're a very wealthy person. When you can spread love, you're wealthy. And we live in abundance because this household is full of love. We might be hurting financially, but we know where each other stands. We don't call each other names. We don't call anybody else names. People we don't like, we don't call names. Because everybody's in their own battle, and their own understanding based on their own experiences. So they may be hateful, but that's because we just don't know what's going on in their life. That lady who said lazy, yes, I have an opinion, and yes, I'm often wrong. But it could be something different. It could be that she's struggling and she doesn't know how to deal with it, and it comes off cantankerous. But as I say all the time, you'd think I was some kind of hippie because I say love all the time. But it's usually you're talking to a guy who, when I was in sales, my boss would tell me he loved me. I'd had friends that would tell me that they loved me in the car dealership, and I'd say, "Yeah, you too." I couldn't say it, and now I understand what love is. I didn't know what love was then. It's about helping people. And that's why we're starting this homestead. It's because we really want to pour out love to the world, as many people as we can. We want to help people. We want to heal the hurt, the broken, the lonely, the lost. There's a lot of people who the only people that they knew that they could turn to was the church, and then the church wasn't there. Unfortunately, a lot of churches aren't there. They're only there if you act like them, if you are them. I've been kicked out of churches simply because I refused to become one. Not because I even expressed my beliefs were different. It's because I don't raise my hands like everybody else. I don't turn my head and say something to my neighbor because the pastor said, turn to your neighbor and say this. Why? Love isn't wanting somebody to be like you. You love people where they are. We're not trying to help our neighbors so they can start believing the same way we do. We're trying to help our neighbors so they can live happier and healthier, and they have the opportunity to help somebody else. and to love somebody else. So just start loving your neighbor. And if you can, help us. When you donate, not just in money, time, expertise, equipment, advice. I mean, feel free to leave advice on the comments or anything. I mean, we take everything in consideration. Just because we don't listen or don't do all advice doesn't mean that we didn't read it or take it into consideration. Some people are just dumb and they get bad advice. But, and sometimes we're just dumb. We just didn't take the advice that was given to us. But it's nice that somebody tried, that somebody loved enough and cared enough to give advice because they want to see somebody else succeed. And we're going to succeed. Why? Because God put it in my heart. And why would God put it in my heart if I wasn't going to succeed? So stay in peace, stay in love.